New England going to Baltimore, and the question to me in this game, so New England is currently favored by 3, and I, on Sunday night, very early Monday morning, said that I thought New England should be favored by like 5.5, 6.
You were really close to getting irresponsible on that.
Yes. Yeah. And the reason that I had that discrepancy, the reason I think that it should be a bigger spread is the Baltimore Ravens are not the team that is going to make Tom Brady look mortal. They do not have that type of defense. They don't get pressure. They blitz nearly 50% of the time. They blitz more than any other team in the NFL. Tom Brady's been the best quarterback against the blitz for his entire career. He finally has Mohamed Sanu, a week to kind of get him acclimated, despite the fact that they overpaid for him drastically. You've got Julian Edelman, guys that can attack the middle of the field, and they have James White. And guess where the biggest weakness for the Ravens defense is? Their linebackers can't cover anybody, right? Mm-hmm. So there is I think a significant misrepresentation of where the Patriots offense is, because they have been more middle of the league this year, whereas the fundamentals tell you that Tom Brady is actually still great from a clean pocket, that they probably will be able to attack this team from a clean pocket. And I've got one more nugget for you here.
Ooh.
Remember when the Patriots played the Eagles in the Super Bowl and everyone was worried about Tom Brady being under pressure? Mm-hmm. Remember what they did? Mm-hmm. Ran a ton of play action.
Yep.
The Baltimore Ravens cannot get pressure when the other team runs play action. And I picked this up. Chris noted how they looked bad against play action a couple of times, and it shows up in those kind of ways. They've actually had a decent number of interceptions, so the pass rating looks good, but high yards per attempt, high yards per play, unable to get pressure. Wouldn't be surprised if the Patriots leverage that.
Yeah, and so there's a couple things here that is really interesting. The Patriots don't have an outside receiving threat, people think, right? Because they lost Josh Gordon, and Dorsett's fine, but they're
Brandon Cooks, Dorsett.
Yeah, N'Keal Harry is somebody that will eventually probably be good, but for now, the sneaky thing though is that they actually do. Julian Edelman has played almost as many snaps wide as he has in the slot, and that he gets this slot stereotype.
He hasn't been as good.
No, he hasn't been as good, but he's a player that can man that position, right? And I'd rather have, obviously, like people thought Sanu and he would be redundant, but no, I think that the Patriots adapt, and Julian Edelman, he played outside a lot when they had Danny Amendola, right? He plays the slot when he's the best slot option for his team, but he plays outside otherwise. And he's a legitimate, bona fide, still number one receiver. And so add that to, and I know this is going to, this is not like the biggest take in the world, but like Benjamin Watson is an NFL caliber tight end, something that they've been missing from their team for the first month of the season. Brady's looked to him. He's got a rapport with him for their time together earlier in the last decade. So their offense is rounding into form better than I think the market indicates on the outside. And then to your point, the Ravens, they get Marcus Peters, they get Jimmy Smith back. They're good in the secondary. But the fact of the matter is this offseason, they lost a significant amount of players in their front seven. And while that might not be as bad against a offense that lacks creativity, against the Patriots, they will get ruthlessly abused in the passing game by players like James White, by players like Rex Burkhead, and the aforementioned Ben Watson. Yeah. So to me, like that's the play here. People love the Ravens, and John Harbaugh has the best decision maker in the NFL so far on our AWS article. But I think that the fact that this number slid towards 3 is a playable pick.
Yes, and the Lamar Jackson love, and look, people want to tell us that we hate Lamar Jackson. I was the person banging the door for him to be picked over Josh Allen and Josh Rosen. I said he should have been, it was a good pick, play for Rookie of the Year last year. I love Lamar Jackson. And Lamar Jackson adds a facet of play to the Ravens, a unique facet of play really to the league, right? He keeps the ball in read options more than anyone else. He's forced like twice as many missed tackles as any other quarterback. He allows you to go for more fourth and shorts because quarterback runs are more efficient and helps you feel better about those plays. he is remarkable, and his passing has not been that bad. But the Patriots secondary, their coverage is so good that they're able to do things with their front seven that I think their plan is going to be to make him, kind of throw the ball, right? To not let him beat them running the ball, I would think. And so he's going to have to attack a Patriots coverage unit, which is the best in the NFL. They are allowing a passer rating to opposing quarterbacks who are in a clean pocket that is 10 points lower than the NFL average for quarterbacks when they're under pressure. I mean, that's ridiculous, right?
They trust their coverage so much that they are willing to give away pass rush because they know that even with a longer time to throw, their coverage will hold up. They're also, and this is not trivial as well, we give out tackling grades. They're fourth in terms of they just wrap players up. And we saw, in the last game against the Seahawks many times had Lamar Jackson with at least one player able to corral him and just couldn't do it.
Come close.
And here's another sneaky thing about the Patriots: they run a lot of the same personnel groupings regardless of opponent personnel, and that's going to come in handy against the Baltimore Ravens, who don't run as many 11 personnel packages as some teams. They run a decent amount of 2 tight ends.
A lot of heavy
stuff.
2 running backs.
The Patriots are going to keep defensive backs on the field because they're going to need one of them to spy on Lamar Jackson. And the teams that fail against heavier teams with running quarterbacks are the ones that play base and say, "Hey, Will, linebacker guy, you're our 11th best player on defense. Oh, but by the way, you're spying on the quarterback." If it's somebody like Patrick Chung or somebody like one of the McCourties, like spying on Lamar Jackson, I like my odds a lot better there. So it'll be interesting to see. They do play a lot of man defense, which is easy to run against if you're a quarterback. So they're,
but they play man defense. They play a ton of cover zero. In other words, they say is like, look, we're going to dedicate these other guys to do certain things. I wouldn't be surprised if what they do in this situation is they say, well, instead of dedicating all of them to blitzing, we're going to dedicate them to containment, and we're going to make Deshaun Watson. Jesus. We're going to make Lamar Jackson.
Another quarterback we really like.
Yeah. Jesus. I'm adding Lamar Jackson to my list of favorite players who aren't the best at their position, but they're my favorites. So it's Deshaun Watson, Alvin Kamara, and Lamar Jackson, and Jalen Ramsey are now in that group.
Saquon Barkley too.
Yeah, they're going to force him to make some throws, and it's not as if he's a terrible thrower of the football, but that's just not his strong point, right? That's just not where he is going to be a top tier quarterback. And so this will be an interesting game regardless. A real chess match on both sides.
Here's a key point, and as we've learned over the course of the years, the 3 is important.
Yep.
Don't get stuck like we had against Kansas City last year with 3.5, and get the push there if they end up only winning by 3.
Thanks for watching the PFF YouTube channel. And if you want to subscribe, all you have to do is push the button. Don't forget everything you get. A little fantasy, push the button. A little green line for the gambling aspects of the game, push the button. College football, push the button. The YouTube channel from PFF.